Hi everyone, this is Blake again, and today I wanted to share with you some more about my vision. So, as well as memorizing buttons and levers and dials on things I use and memorizing my whole house and some of the other things that make my vision difficult to work with is I see a very minimal amount at once, and also that minimal amount changes. It shakes. It My eyes shake around a lot, which makes things very difficult to view and makes them very difficult. It makes it very difficult to work with because of that shaking. It makes it extremely difficult. It could be very difficult to work with. Other things that happen sometimes, like when they shake in all different times. Sometimes they shake. Sometimes, like some days, it's not as bad as other days. But I can't control the shaking. Like I can't. Like if I want to move my eyes, I can't. I can't move my eyes. I have to. They just kind of shake on their own. I can't move. I can't move them. They just shake on their own, and yeah, they just shake. So that's partially also what makes it difficult. Some days, it's they just shake so much you just can't really do much of anything because of all the shaking. The shaking really can be very difficult. The other one of the other things that make my vision difficult to work with is the fact that not only does my vision shake, but sometimes, sometimes more often than others, it will totally it'll fog up, and so it's hard to when it's foggy. It'll get very foggy, and it's hard to see with the fog, and everything gets into where I can't really see anything because it'll fog up, and then it'll go away and everything will be fine after certain periods of time. But it will fog up, and it'll fog and it'll stay foggy for certain periods of time, and then after the fogginess goes away, it still shakes, but it at least the at least the fogginess isn't there as much, because that does make things it can make things very difficult as well. The shakiness and the fogginess combined, as well as the other things, can make it very difficult to see, and just to do daily activities and work and play and do that sort of activity, or any sort of activity. It's just kind of difficult. And some days I just kind of I can't really do much of anything because of the way it's seen. And I can do things, but it's harder to do things. So some days I will just sort of close my eyes for a certain period of time, to hopefully it will help. But it doesn't really. Sometimes it relaxes them maybe a little bit, but it really it it does not it doesn't, like if I close them and it's foggy, if I open them it'll still be foggy, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, if it's a temporary close. So those are the two things that I wanted to mention today. Is one, they shake around a lot, and two, they get foggy, and I can try to close them and do different things. It doesn't really work a lot of the time. In fact, it never works really. I have to I've learned over time that if I go to sleep for the night and I get back up for however many hours, like if I go to sleep at the night and then I get up in the morning, most of the time it will be better, and it'll I don't even know how, I don't know the science of it, but it'll reset itself and it'll be a lot better than, staying awake and having to deal with that issue, or those issues, depending on what's particularly going on that day with them. It's just kind of a day-to-day, you just never know. I just don't know exactly when it's gonna, I don't know when it's gonna happen, and they're always kind of shaking, but I don't know when it'll get foggy, when it won't get foggy. You can kind of tell sometimes, but and there are also other things that you can tell it's gonna get foggy because of a certain, like if it's cloudy outside, or if it's not if it's not bright, they're more likely to get foggy, or they're more likely to shake a lot more than they usually do, or something of that sort of, something like that. So anyway, those are the two things I wanted to share with everyone today. I hope everyone has a great day, and subscribe.